I am really excited to show you the work that I've been doing with my AI agent that I now named Aya. And last week I was showing some details about how I got this agent set up and how you can access it. Before it's launched, it's called the 90-Minute Marketing Department Business Operating System. If you're part of our community, you have the ability to um, access it from the community. It is free and open. There's some other features added onto it that only 90MM members can have. All that, whatever, or not whatever. I mean, it's important, but I want to show you how far you can take this. And before I do that, I want to acknowledge that there's a lot of people out there that are a ton smarter than me when it comes to setting this stuff up. It's second nature to them. They have a lot of tech background. I don't have that tech background. Quite the opposite. I am a process guy, and therefore I understand how to ask questions to get me where I want to go a lot quicker. So the question I started asking is, all right, how can I start to use this agent anywhere that I go? And part of the reason I asked that question was because next week I'll be at the Beats conference and I want to show people what it is that they can do with their AI agent. So I want to give you a short little demo of what I've been doing with Aya over the past couple of days since I got back from that cesspool that is Disney. But before I give you the preview, let me just tell you, I created an entire set of resources for the people that I'll be speaking with at the Beats conference. I'll have a little 10-minute session on the main stage, and I want to give people a huge takeaway, more of a takeaway than I think they would ever expect. I mean, we're talking the 90MM BOS. We're talking guides about how to create throughput accounting in real estate, an entire podcast session, like series, understanding how you can use these resources with the scripts and the audio files. It took me probably about a day total to create something that a lot of people would sell for a couple $1,000s. I had a huge help in that. There were the human parts of that process that I was able to do. But think about this for a second. Something people would sell for thousands of dollars cost me money, no more money than I was already spending with the systems that I have, and cost me very little time to create. While Aya was doing her work, I was doing other things. So let me show you kind of that process of what I did. And I'm going to try to move my face out of here, or scale up this chat window so that you can see it above my face here. And I'm going to say this first. Just remind me of your name again. Like, see, I've trained Aya on this personality. It's part of her soul. Shout out to Jeff J. Hunter for what he's doing with OpenClaw to show me the value of having that sense of identity that I can speak to. Now, this obviously doesn't humanize AI, but when we talk in marketing about giving names to make something real to your ideal client profiles and whatnot, this is an incredibly powerful way to do that. So I can speak to Aya, which is a verbalization of AI, artificial intelligence agent. Anyways, okay, perfect. So I want to say, hey, I'm going to actually use WhisperFlow for this, because the other thing about this is you can talk to these agents using WhisperFlow on your computer. So that's what I'm going to do here. Well, hey, Aya, I am actually showing people a live demonstration of what can be done with an AI agent like this in real estate. And the first thing that I want to do is actually just write a little bit of a story about some of the stuff that we've been working on. I want you to create a Google Doc in my Google Drive. You can save it under my company folders. And when you write that story of what some of the work that we've been done, let's make sure to not share any private information. Let's make sure not to share anything that would be compromising to the company. Let's make sure to just tell a general story. And in fact, I want you to kind of frame it in a way that does make it a little bit dramatic. Now, this story doesn't have to be long. We're probably talking like 1,000 words at most. But create that Google Doc, provide me the link to that Google Doc so that I can show people on this live stream what is going on. Perfect. And you see, Whisper caught all of that conversation. I always tell people, right, these are language models. These language models perform with data. Data is conversation. It's the information that we communicate. So I'm going to provide that here. Now, if everything is set up correctly, so this is set up correctly on a local environment on another computer here at my home office. This is the first time that I'm connecting to the virtual private server that I set up inside of the server that allows me to remotely connect. So I'm going to give permission, and I'm reviewing. Basically what I just told it to do is to go ahead and create that document, connect to my Google Workspace, be able to create that document. And you can see here that it's going through the thinking process. Now, when people say, while it's doing all of this thinking, right, one of the questions I get all of the time is, how can I automate everything I don't want to do? That's the wrong question. If you've read the book, 10x is greater than 2x, or 10x is easier than 2x, you know that there is an important question about scaling a business that is who, not how. So the question is not how do we automate things we don't want to do? The question is, who do we trust to do that work with us and for us? And that who definition has changed. And again, I'm giving access to the temp folder so that the agent can continue doing its work. But to continue that conversation, in the age of AI, the who is changing somewhat. It used to be that we had to outsource that to people. It used to be that we had to hire VAs. It used to be we had to hire people to do some of these things. Now that definition is changing. We are hiring people to manage our AI systems. That's what I do here inside the Leasix agency. I have 2 wonderful staff members, and I had 3, but Brittany went off and started doing bigger and better things, and couldn't be happier for it. It's amazing when I see somebody do that. But I still working with Abby and working with Lorelei. They are able to do amazing things with our AI employees, and this is the next natural step for them to now be able to truncate that process of the work that they already do. I was talking to Abby yesterday, about 3 to 4 hours of work creating 8 weeks of content. This can probably reduce that time down even further, but she's still producing the same quality work because this agent can be trained on that work. And that's what I've been working on. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link here, and you can see that I'm going to drag this document over, and you can see here that the Google Doc was created, the system that finally made it real. And let me go ahead and zoom in here on the text so that we can read this out, right? He had everything figured out. That was the problem. The business plan was airtight, waiting for what exactly? All of this is a reflection of things that we've talked about. And look at this at the bottom. Built with Claude by Anthropic, powered by constraint-based thinking. That reflects the training that I gave Aya. That reflects the training that I built into this AI agent to give it the ability to understand the logic, cause and effect based thinking of what it is that I do. Now, I'm not going to read through this whole thing with you because there looks like there's 5 pages of text there. But let's suppose we want to make a change. Let's suppose we want to make a wholesale change here. So I'm going to go back in here and say, all right, I think that the story is a little bit long, and I don't want to write it in prose. I actually want to try to tell this story in a series of 5 haikus. I know it's a little bit artistic and it's a little bit different from my personality, but this is what I want you to do. I want you to go back into that Google Doc. I want you to delete out everything. And then I want you to recreate it, that story, in a series of 5 haikus. Let me know if you have any questions, but I think you got what you need from there. Right? That's how I communicate to people. That's how I communicate to my agent. It understands that. It is learning from that. And so here we go. We're seeing the thinking happening again. I've given it all the commands, and you can see it's going through the process. You can see the workflow that it's going through. And it's asking for permission to do the things that it needs to do and to proceed in the way that it needs to proceed. And what we should see here, oh, excuse me, still a little lingering cold from Disney, is you should see in just a short period of time, this agent remove the document and then write the haikus. Boom. You saw it right there. Completely did the work. Now, what this just did is but a small representation of the things that people far smarter than me are doing. And it by no means is a replacement for some of those advanced things. Look, if you're an advanced user of this kind of technology, this stuff is basic and elementary for you. I get it. Most people aren't. Most people, in fact, shouldn't be doing this level of thinking until they've gone through the process of actually setting up their agents to understand their business. And they shouldn't be going through the process of setting up agents to understand their business until they are able to describe their business. W. Edward Deming once said that if you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. And I can tell you that there are way too many people in real estate, including people that are in positions of authority, that can't describe what they do as a process. They can tell people what to do, but that's different. That doesn't empower anybody. When you're able to describe the process to somebody, you are able to actually give them the ability to think through what it is they're doing and to make that process better. Well, that's what the agent does with me, because that's the way that I think. That's the way that I've thought for ages. Again, this is just this just scratches the surface of what agents can do. And over the course of the next couple of weeks, the more I use my agent, the more I use Aya, it will be able, not she, not him, it will be able to start connecting the things that I create to other AI platforms, to my communications platform inside of Leasix Pro, and to start automating a great deal of this stuff while still giving me the human control over the process. Because that's what a manager does. That's what a good leader does. Guides the process and then trusts the process to be executed. At this point, I'm now able to do this from any computer device because Aya lives on a virtual private server. I just thought it was pretty cool to share. I would love to know if y'all have any questions. This stuff's cool, though. It is cool. But the value of it is I took what normally would have been a 5 to 6 day project, and I finished it yesterday so that I can spend the next 3 days preparing to leave the house, preparing to spend time with Blair and the girls before I leave for the Beats conference on Sunday. That is ultimately the benefit of what this did. So like I said, while the video's up, let me know what questions you have. I would love to see what you think.